section 28, sorry, not paragraph, section 28, you can see that section Brigadier. Yes, I'll get it, please stay with me. It says type of matters to be investigated by IP. Section 28, subsection 1, the director must investigate any deaths in police custody, deaths as a result of any complaint relating to the discharge of an official firearm by any police officer, rape by any police officer, of torture or assault against a police officer, in terms of the section that I prepared copies for yourself, and I want to refer you to section number 28, which I will read for the record and not easily. Paragraph section 28, sorry, not paragraph, section 28, you can see that section Brigadier. Yes, I'll get it, please stay with me. It says type of matters to be investigated by IP. Section 28, subsection 1, the director must investigate any deaths in police custody, deaths as a result of police actions, any complaint relating to the discharge of an official firearm by any police officer, rape by any police officer, whether the police officer is on or off duty. Paragraph F, my lord, any complaint of torture or assault against a police officer in the execution of his or her duties. Paragraph G, corruption matters within the police initiated by the Executive Directorate on his or her own or after the receipt of a complaint from a member of the public or referred to the Directorate by the Minister, an MEC, or the Secretary as the case may be. And H, any other matter referred to as a result of a decision by the Executive Directorate, if so requested by the Minister, an MEC, or the Secretary as the case may be. But the reference that I want to make to you, it's paragraph 28, subsection 1F.
Yes, my lord.
Do you see that one?
I see paragraph F.
Paragraph F. Yes. It says matters to be investigated. It's any complaint of assault. Okay?
Yes.
And then let's read it in conjunction with section 29. Now there has been a complaint of assault. Let's hear now what section 29 says. Reporting obligations and cooperations by members. Section 29, subsection 1. The station commander or any member of South African Police Service or Municipal Police Service must, paragraph A, subparagraph A, immediately after becoming aware, notify the Directorate of any matters referred to in section 28(1)A to F, which includes F, which I've referred to you as well. So it means any member, and by any member, I'm now referring to you, Brigadier Geninda, that after receiving that complaint in terms of this act, this is what we are supposed to do, to report the complaint to the Independent Directorate, Police Investigative Directorate, to investigate the complaint, which was made by the accused in court. Did you do that?
My lord, this section that I read refers to a complaint. My understanding, it's a formal complaint, not information or someone sitting there and says, this is what I'm saying. I've testified, my lord, that there were steps that I took and clear directive that such complaint in terms of the facts, where it occurred, who are the suspects, J88 statements taken, docket registered to be done. And the feedback I got was that accused one is not willing to do that. Subsequent to that, my lord, all entries, relevant entries showed, including the prison one, that he was not assaulted. That's the first part. But the second part, my lord, matters that get registered to IP, council need to understand the police has a case data system. Matters get registered. In other way to get, I refer to this matter as A1. That is a complainant statement, because someone needs to allege that this is what happened. Subsequently, the case docket of assault, DPH, torture, whatever the case may be, will be registered, captured on the police system. That's how it works. That's the system. It must be captured on the police data, then referred to IP. There must be a trail of evidence. Now, in the absence of A1 of the complaint, what do you refer, my lord? When all registers shows that there was no assault reported, the complainant or the person who's alleging to be assaulted is not willing to give a statement.
Kunomthetho-sekelo la njengoba izolo besikade sikhuluma ngalaba abaphenyayo abazimele, uyafunda ummeli ukuthi la ku-F uthi isikhalazo nanoma yesiphi sokuthi mhlawumbe umuntu ushawe amaphoyisa, lo muntu loyo iphoyisa libe likade lisemsebenzini noma lingekho emsebenzini, lo muntu loyo kwamele afake isikhalazo siyophenywa. Uma siya la ku section 29 kuthiwa kwamele leso sikhalazo siyophenywa. Ubrigadier kuyabuzwa ukuthi wenzile lokho na, njengoba kwakade kunesikhalazo esibuya kumangalelwa ukuthi ushayile. Uthi ubrigadier isikhalazo sikhuluma ngesikhalazo esisemthethweni. La umuntu uye wayenza istatement ukuthi mina naku ngishawe umuntu othize, wafaka futhi necala evulela lelo phoyisa icala, bese kuvulwa idokodo lilethwe kuyena ubrigadier ukuze aye yena ayophenya, bese uyonika laba abaphenyayo abazimele ukuze nabo bazokwazi ukuphenya njengoba bakhuluma la ku section 28 no 29 wabo abaphenyi abazimele.
Thank you, Mr. Gedin. Firstly, in paragraph F, let's read it again. It does not say...
Sorry. To understand the law applicable. When we were listening to that tape, the recording, there was an attorney apparently representing accused number 2 on the 5th of March. Is that not so?
Not on the 5th, on the 27th.
Is it on the 27th when this attorney said to the magistrate that he has received a complaint from his clients?
That was the 5th of March.
Yeah.
What is right?
Yes.
2021.
That they are being assaulted.
Correct, ma'am.
Right?
Yes.
Let's play that, because then the magistrate said, "This, who's that attorney?
Mr. Nkwane.
Nkwane. Right. He told Nkwane to assist his clients to lay a charge. Is that not the evidence, Mr. Ngumezulu?
That's the evidence.
That's it. And if you find or get any problems, the commissioner of police must be approached. I think the commissioner of police must be approached so that a formal complaint can be laid. Is that not so, sir?
That's the evidence.
When I was listening, now has that been done? Ms. Mshololo, you can, or you, Mr. Has that been done?
My Lord, may I just
Yeah.
get clarity from what my colleague is asking?
We'll come to the IPIT.
Yes.
Talking about
She was
what happened in court.
I'm not sure if that question relates to what happened in relation to accused number 1. Before we get into accused number 2.
Yes.
Because the first report that was made to the brigadier in relation to the line of questioning relates to accused number 1.
At Silverton.
At Silverton.
What was the date?
The 10th of July, if I'm not
And was that report made in court?
The report was made in court to the presiding officer.
What was the date in court that day?
The 10th of July, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that so?
No. Not in Fosloras. I'm referring to, yes.
And that is a complaint regarding Silverton.
That's correct.
Right, because now Geninda is referring to that. As I understand you are referring to that complaint.
The one of Silverton, my lord. I'm referring to the one of Silverton of the 10th of July.
Yeah.
The accused, all these measures were put into place, and he was not willing to make a statement. And no registers confirmed that he was assaulted.
Okay.
futhi ke kuthiwa ku wonke lamaqala lawo bewafakiwe akukho la umangalelwa yena aye wazimisela ukwenza istatement eshoyo ukuthi yebo ngishawe ubani nini kuphi.
Right, I'm sorry to interfere, but from my understanding, how do you lodge a complaint? Is it on affidavit or is it just verbal? There's no record of that.
My Lord, I think it would be unfair for me to be cross-examined by the court when I'm putting
not cross-examining.
questions to the witness.
I'm not cross-examining you. I just want to understand the law.
May I then be given the opportunity to put questions to the witness?
No. Listen. I want to understand the law. You have given me this. As you say, that is the applicable law.
Yes.
And I want to understand because from the record, it appears that the magistrate Havenga intervened to the attorney who was, is that not?
My Lord, I'm not referring to that
Okay,
one.
okay, fine, go
Yes,
ahead.
I'm not
Okay.
referring to that one.
All right.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
I'm referring to the one that was made in Tembisa Court, my Lord.
In Tembisa Court.
Yes. In Tembisa Court about Silverton police officers
Okay, fine.
Yes,
On which
that-
day? You say it was on the 10th.
on the 10th of July.
Okay, fine, you can go on.
And that complaint, my Lord, was made by accused number 2
Okay.
in full court. Oh, sorry, my Lord, accused number 1 in Tembisa, not accused number 2. On that day, the exhibit would clear the record, my Lord. So there was a complaint, my Lord, according to my understanding, which was made in full court about the assault and about the police officers in Silverton. And then my next question is, my Lord, with that complaint which was reported in a court of law, which was related to you, Brigadier, as the head of the unit, what did you do with that complaint? Because this act precisely says the complaint must be referred to the Inspectorate Police Investigative Directive for further investigation.
As a court case, my Lord, I think my learned friend should have also made a copy of the regulations issued in terms of the IPID Act, because these regulations must be read in conjunction with the Act. Now, she's reading the Act in isolation, and if one looks at, I had a quick look at the regulations. For instance, Regulation 2 says reporting of matters to the investigating directorate. A station commander or any member of the South African Police or the Municipal Police Service must, say, within the period mentioned in Section 29(1)(b) that my learned friend has quoted, of the Act, submit a written report. Yeah. A written report to the Directorate regarding any matter listed in Section 28(1)(a). That is now the section that my learned colleague is busy with. And furthermore, Regulation 4(b), which is the most important one, says a person who lodges a complaint in terms of sub-regulation must do so in writing, by fax or electronic mail, and it says the provisions of sub-regulation 3 will then apply. So in other words, my Lord, we say it's very dangerous to read the acts in isolation. It must be read in conjunction with the regulation, which makes it clear that a complaint must be in writing, as the witness has testified to.
Can I proceed, Madam?
Yes, I thought you were proceeding.
Thank you. Brigadier, I put it to you that if you had complied with the provisions of this section, and independent members of the IPID would have been appointed.
But that's not correct.
Khalazo bekwamele nabantu laba abaphenya amacala abazimele babizwe noma baziswe. Uthi ubrigadier mayiphendula uthi cha, ummeli uyazi wayekade esebenzela umbuso, kwamele kube nestatement esibizwa iA1, kuyistatement leso umuntu akhalaza khona ukuthi ngihlukunyeziwe.
Okay, I won't argue with you. I'll leave that one for argument. Let's proceed. Brigadier, I'm going to hand in, my lord, with the leave of the court, Exhibit XX, if I'm not mistaken. It was, if you can give the state one, it was marked Exhibit XX.
It's the one that was handed in by Mr. Nisi.
Indeed, my lord.
Indeed, my lord, yes. That's why I did not make an additional copy, my lord. Thank you. Brigadier, I just want to refer you to a few paragraphs of this pro forma. It's by SAPS, it's form number 3M, in brackets, small letter M, statement regarding interview with suspects. Okay. The reason why I'm referring you to this form is because you had interviews with suspects on different occasions. Do you understand?
I do, my lord.
Yes, okay. And then, without wasting the court's time, paragraph 1, completion of statement. Okay? I'll ask you to read it to the court.
Prosecutor, on second, the suspect is interviewed, irrespective of whether the suspect has been arrested or not.
Okay, thank you. You understand that this form must be completed every time whenever there is an interview, irrespective of whether the suspect has been charged.
Important that it said this form refers to that interview as directed by the prosecutor. It's a different scenario when the police, in no way does it refers to interviews of the police. It's very specific. You are directed by the prosecutor to obtain an explanation, and naturally, you communicate the outcome of the suspect in a form of a warning statement to the NPA, and that's what paragraph 1 says, my lord.
No, it doesn't say so. Let's read paragraph also, my lord, for the interpretation.
La aqeda kufunda khona ubrigadier ukuthwa uma abashushisi bathi amaphoyisa babuze abasolwa imibuzo, kwamele kube nezinto ekuthi ziyaqwathiwa uma abashushisa, hayi ukuthi amaphoyisa behloma nje abamangalelwa imibuzo, kusuka kungabashushisi abatshele amaphoyisa ukuthi babuze abamangalelwa imibuzo.
Furthermore, my lord,
Paragraph.
Yes, my lord. We've been down this road before when Sergeant Mokhane was testifying. I think we even quoted authorities and filed heads on this matter. It was debated. I think it's a matter that can be best left for argument, my lord.
I don't know how it impinges on a trial within a trial, because at this stage, this court is busy, seized with the exigency of a trial within a trial, which is a compact interlocutory process, which has its bearing as to whether any confession made by any of the accused or a witness, if there is a dispute that it was not freely and voluntarily made without coercion in a person's sane and sober senses, if a prima facie case is made by the prosecutor after having advised the court that he intends using that document, which is supposedly or allegedly a confession, then when the state has led that evidence, the accused themselves, if they so desire, they come with countervailing evidence to rebut the allegations by the state, which are laid down by its witnesses. This is what this process is about. It is not about the merits. But if you're saying this question you're asking relates to proving the age, but I've sang this song to say that this process we're in, it's about the admissibility of a confession.
Regarding this form which I have referred the witness to, it's on the circumstances under which those statements were taken.
Yeah, fine.
It contains, my lord.
No, you can go ahead.
Thank you, my lord. Let's continue, Brigadier, with paragraph B.
Before, my lord, we go to paragraph B, I wanted to bring it to the attention of the court that this form that counsel has referred me to is not a prescribed form. In other words, it's not the only warning. There are no prescribed form in the warning statement. So it's not a golden rule. Warning statements, others that are even 2 or 3 pages long. So this is not the way. This is not the way that the standing order says, and it's regulated in the standing orders, my lords, to that effect.
Ngaphambi kokuthi singaqhubeka ithi ngicacise la ukuthi akusu ukuthi le form le ummeli anginike yona yodwa umthetho wodwa omile ukuthi kwamele na kanjani uma ubuza umsolwa imibuzo umbuze ngalendlela. Ikhona eminye imithetho eminye mide ukudlula le enginikwe yona, akusu ukuthi ile mthetho nemigomo ekwamele ilandelelwe kuphela.
Unfortunately, Brigadier, I'm the only one who is putting questions to you. I'm not going to argue with you with your line of questioning. The form I'm referring you to is the form that is prescribed by the SAPS Police Services. And I'm asking you to read paragraph B into the record.
Yes, my lord, I'm not actually, just to clarify, I'm not asking question to counsel. I'm simply clarifying for counsel to know that this is not the only form prescribed.
Yeah, can you read paragraph B now?
Yes, counsel, you can
Read,
give me a chance.
read it.
Because I need, give me a chance, I need to, because I'm assisting the court. That impression must not be given that this is the only form prescribed.
I've never asked what you are saying. I've never asked what
Mr.
you are saying.
Mshololo, how are we going to proceed now? Like we're in a tavern now.
Apologies, ma'am.
This is a senior police. He's a brigadier. You ask him a question. He proffers an answer. Give him a chance to answer. If he is wrong, you can argue that later. But now you're stopping him from speaking. And then you're speaking at cross purposes. Because he says the standing orders don't prescribe that form. And you are saying the South African Police Services prescribe that form. So maybe you should produce the law, both of you. Not even both of you. Because he says there's no standing order which says, am I quoting you correct, sir?
Yes, I'm saying, my lord, there's no standing order that says this is the only prescribed form for taking a warning statement. And there is an authority that speaks to that, my lord.
My lord, I
Okay.
apologize
Continue.
for interjecting the witness, my lord. But the witness, Brigadier, as a senior member of the police, he must understand that he is supposed to answer the question that has been put to him and stop. I have asked him, my lord, to read paragraph B. Instead of complying with the instruction, he's coming with explanations which have not been invited or asked by myself, who is a cross-examiner in these proceedings.
My lord, my understanding, I'm here to assist the court, not to allow an insinuation that I can see it's misleading. All I said is that it is incorrect to say this is the only form prescribed by the ACPS. There are many forms. There's no specific form that says this is the only form for the warning statement. And I felt that must be made clear in the court. It was not meant to undermine or stop counsel, because it didn't come, from my understanding, I understood counsel to be saying this is the form ACPS prescribed for the warning statement, and I wanted to correct it, that is not correct.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, can you comply with my instructions now? Read
Which is-
paragraph B.
The member who conducts the interview with the suspect has to complete this form fully in the presence of the suspect.
Umuntu iphoyisa eliyenza i-interview la buza khona umsolwa imibuzo kwamele agcwalise iform leli elichazwa la umsolwa ekhona.
On any of the pages, the member must continue on a separate follow page. This follow must be signed by the member, suspect, interpreter, and the commissioner of oath, and must be attached to the statement.
Uma ingabe isikhala lapho asenelanga umuntu angasebenzisa elinye ipage ekwamele lisayinwe iwonke umuntu ozabe ekhona lapho umsolwa iphoyisa utoliki nalo ozabe exhifisa istep.
Yes, paragraph D.
The commissioner of oath must sign on every page of the statement.
Lo oxhifisa istembe kwamele asayine wonke ama page.
Paragraph F.
If the suspect is a child,
Paragraph F.
paragraph F, all deletions must be initiated by the suspect, the interpreter, and the member who conducted the interview with the suspect, as well as the commissioner of oath.
Konke la kusulwa khona kwamele kusayindwe noma kwenziwe ama initials ilabantu bonke abakhona lapho.
Can you also read paragraph 1? The names of all persons present.
The names of all persons present during the interview must be recorded. This includes all members present, the parent of the child, or a legal practitioner.
Amagama wabo bonke labantu abakhona uma ingabe kukhulunywa ngomntwana kwamele abhalwe namagama wabazali.
I will pause here for now and then ask you to read paragraph 6.
Paragraph 6 must be deleted if no questions are put to the suspect. If the suspect indicates that he or she is not willing to answer any questions, this refusal must be recorded. In the space below paragraph 6, the suspect may thereafter not be questioned further. Any reason given by the suspect for the refusal to answer questions must also be recorded.
Okay.
Should I proceed?
Sorry.
Uma ingabe umsolwa yena athi akazimiselanga ukuqhubeka nalokho kwamele kubhalwe ukuthi uthe akazimiselanga ukuqhubeka. Uma ingabe uphana ngezizathu nazo kwamele zibhalwe lezo izathu ukuthi ingani umsolwa athi akasazimiselanga ukuqhubeka ngaleso statement.
It's fine with paragraph A, B, and C. And then let's go above to paragraph 5A. If the suspect is willing to make a statement.
But not willing to make the statement to the member, the suspect may personally see to the drawing up of a statement or make a statement to a magistrate or justice of the peace.
Uma ingabe umsolwa engazimiselanga ukwenza istatement kuyiphoyisa lo msolwa loyo angahle yena ngokwakhe azibhalele sona leso statement noma angasenza phambi komanje.
The same paragraph, paragraph 5.
If neither of these choices are acceptable to the suspect and he or she has another proposal, it should be recorded as E.
Uma ingabe lezi zinto ezibhalwe la azikho mhlawumbe umsolwa uthi yena akazimiselanga ukuthi angayenza noma yini elaphayana kwamele kubhalwe ukuthi yena ke uthi ufisa ukuthi lesi statement
Paragraph that I wanted you to read into the record. Let's now go to the transcript, my lord, of the 28th of November 2023. It's the examination in chief during trial within and trial of the witness. I've asked the state to make a copy available to the witness.
Yes, I have the copy, madam.
Then page 9 of the same transcript, line number 17. I'll read it into the record so that we can be fast.
Okay.
This was your response. My lord, yes, so thereafter I have put to him that I have a reason to believe that he was involved in the killing Senzo Meyiwa. His response, my lord, mounted to a confession.
I see that, my lord.
And then, I think I also asked this question yesterday, but now I'm asking in respect of what you said in your examination in chief, that what was said by the accused tantamounted to a confession. What is it that was said by the accused which tantamounted to a confession? Because I think this is your interpretation to say, my lord, what the accused said tantamounted. So I want to see it clearly, what is it that was said by accused at that time?
To refer to you, are you aware of a... Sorry, Rose. Only these decisions only Unterhalter is the biggest. No, but I want to say to you, are you aware of the fact that when you are asking this witness to repeat what your client has said, then that evidence could possibly be applicable in this court determining the admissibility or otherwise of the confession?
Thank you, my lord. Can I just rephrase the question? Brigadier, it is correct that the accused responded when you're speaking to him in respect of this passage which I've referred you to?
That is correct, my lord.
Iqiniswa ngithi ukuthi umsolwa uye waphendula njengoba bengikade ngifunda ngithi uthe umsolwa impendulo yakhe ubone ukuthi ingathi usekazofuna ukugonyuluka uthi yebo.
Was that recorded anywhere in this form or in any document? Was it recorded?
Well, let's start with the form, my lord. I think I've explained that the form was not present at that time. It was an interview, and the interview I had with him was summarized in the diary, because a diary, counsel knows it. You summarize basically the events, not like writing a statement, but in statements, if the question then goes further, is it documented anywhere? Yes, in statements, various statements, it appears in the investigation diaries. I even referred to Mr. Ngumalo to 178, 179, 180, it appears. But the form, because that's the start of the question, this form, as I said, is not a prescribed form, and I was not taking a warning statement, it was an interview. No, it was not completed.
Lento ayikhulumile iye yabhalwa na kule form leyana uthi cha ayibhalwanga.
Okay, and then let's go further on the same page wherein you say, I then asked him obviously after the discussion, my lord, as to whether he will be willing freely and voluntarily to make such a statement to an independent officer. How did the accused become aware of the independent officer that we are referring to here?
Because I asked him, I told him, I asked him, as it says here, my lord, I asked him that will he be, exactly as it says. I then asked him, obviously, after the discussion, my lord, as to whether he will be willing freely and voluntarily to make such a statement to an independent officer. That's exactly how it was, because I was aware that he's making a confession, and such confession, in my view, was being made freely and voluntarily. Now, as for best practice rule, my lord, I prefer that an independent officer should be the one taking it. So I wanted to establish from him if he'd be willing to do that, and the answer was yes.
And also,
Umsolwa manje waze kanjani ngalo muntu omunye ozimele lobo kade umbuza ngaye ukuthi uzimisela ukuthi angayogunyuluka kumuntu ozimele ongekho la. Uthi ubrigadier ingalendlela ngichaza ngakhona ukuthi ithema iqedwe ukukhuluma ngambuza ke ukuthi uzimisela ukuthi lento ungitshela yona ungayoyitshela omunye umuntu ozimele ongekho lapha phakathi kwethu ula umangalela wathi yebo.
In other words, my lord, what he told me, I knew that it has to be documented so that it becomes some form of evidence that we can use. And the best practice that one thought of at the time was to have such evidence documented by an independent officer. So that is how this issue of an independent person comes in, my lord.
Ngoba lento lebe kade ayisho ngiye ngabona ukuthi kwamele ibhalwe ngahle isetshenziswe njengobufakazi, ingakho ngiye ngathi uzawufuneka ukuthi kutholakale umuntu ozimele ongekho la kule ngxoxo yethu.
And also during that interview, that conversation that you are just referring to was also not recorded, that you have explained to the accused about this issue of independent officer. It was not recorded during that interview. It was oral.
No, but recorded where, my lord? Perhaps the question to be specific, because I said I've summarized my interaction with the accused in my diary. Subsequent to that, there were statements under oath that I've made. Some I had to read here at the request of Mr. Ngomezulu, the investigation diary. So it depends. If the question is to say they are not recorded on the warning statement that counsel referred me to, the answer is yes, because I didn't use the warning statement. But to say they are not recorded, they are recorded, my lord, in various cases.
Manje lezi zinto lezi ozikhulumayo akukho la zibhalwe khona uthi ubrigadier zikukhona la ngibhale khona nangokho ngingabhalanga kule ncwadi le eyokubhala istatement ngoba mina ngiye ngabhala ngamafuphi kwi-diary yami futhi ngiyenze ne-statement la ngifunge khona ukuthi lento engiyishoyo kuyiqiniso elezinto ezenzakele.
In your diary, if you are referring to the diary, that this right was explained to the accused that he can be taken to an independent person. I've gone through your diary. If maybe you can assist me, if there is a line I skipped which says the accused was appraised of the right that he can be taken to an independent person. I'm talking about the independent person here.
Yes. Yeah, my lord, it might not have come up as independent. As I said, it's a diary, but it is specific that I contacted Kenan Mboto. I even mentioned his number and specifically mentioned on the diary that he was to assist with the statement. It's the same mentioning of the independent officers I mentioned there, including their contact details to show that this was done. The issues of rights being given to the accused are also mentioned, but of course, because it's a diary, my lord, you can't, it's not like making a statement like I'm saying. The space is congested. So you sum up, but independent person is there, the contact number of that person is there, the issues of rights is there. It is clear that it was an arrangement for the confession.
Uthi-ke umeli le ndaba le yomuntu ozimele phecelezi independent person ayikho la ibhalwe khona la kwi-diary yakho. Ngiyibukile i-diary yakho uma iphendula ubrigadier uthi yebo ngoba la kwi-diary ngangikade ngibhala ngamafuphi izinto ezikhulunyiwe futhi ngibhalile nokuthi uzoyisiwa nangu kuphoyisa elithize ngabhala namanamba wakhe ngoba ngangikade ngisonga la kwi-diary akusukuthi bengibhala yonke into ngoba ispace se-diary sincane kodwa kwi-statement ngiyathemba ukuthi kukhona la ngibhalile khona.
Let's move further to page 12 of the same transcript. Line number 12 to 18, can you read it into the record?
My lord, can I ask counsel to assist me reading that so that perhaps for the sake, if you don't mind, counsel.
Then read it. It's your word. It's your evidence. This is your evidence. Can you read it for the record?
Which part? That's what I'm referring to.
Page 12.
Yes.
Line number 12, wherein it says, Mr. Gininda, my lord, they handed the suspect, accused one, to me.
Yes.
Yes, that one.
And I asked him if he was fine or if he had any complaint. He said he was fine, my lord, and there was no complaint from him. I further asked him, my lord, if he will still be willing to point out the following day. I was very specific, a witch doctor that came up in our discussion, and the answer was yes, he is willing to do that freely and voluntarily, my lord.
Mhle akhombe inyanga le besikade sikhuluma ngayo yena wathi yebo.
I understood on the previous questions regarding an independent person, you said that was not specifically recorded in the diary. But then now I'm moving further down to the stage wherein the accused now was indicating that he wants to do the pointing out. Was that also recorded during the interview or not?
My lord, perhaps maybe I should read the entry of the 30th so the counsel can understand when I say you summarize. And I've made this copy available. For example, on the issues of the 30th, that is regard to accused number 1. On one page you have 30 and 31 on one page. So the columns are very small, my lord. There is no way you can document a diary as if you're writing a statement. You sum up the context. Then you go to, for example, the investigation time. Then, of course, in the statement, you will go into details. What, for example, my lord, the 30th of May says, first it refers to the case number, then it indicates that I got a report from Captain Nyenze, Sergeant Mukula, that the suspect, Moses Sibia, has been arrested for the case of drug dealing, possession of unlicensed ammunition. I went to interview the suspect at Phosphorus.
Sorry, my apologies, my lord, for intervening. I have not asked you, Brigadier, to read the content of the 31st May 2020, what we have written here. I have been specifically asking you if this right, which was elected by the accused, I'm very particular, it was recorded that he has now elected to make a pointing out. In other words, I'm asking a recording in respect of the pointing out, not the whole recordings that you made on that particular day.
But my lord, that's exactly where I was going, because if you read further, because what transpired on the 31st started on the 30th, and then if you go further with this statement, it indicates that he was warned according to his constitutional rights. That's exactly where I was, because it flows from there. Then on the 31st, the day in question, that's where it indicates the issues of the witch doctor, but the starting point starts on the 31st. So the person is warned on the 31st, then it's an ongoing process. So you can't just jump on it to the 31st. It starts here on the 30th. I was not with the accused on the 31st. I was with him on the 30th. I interviewed him. I gave him his constitutional rights as prescribed by the Constitution, and then things started flowing.
Manje ke ummeli ubekade ethi ubrigadier angafundi lezinto azibhalile ngoba ufuna ukuchazelwa nje ukuthi nale ndaba le iye ukuthi ufuna ukuyokhomba uye wachaziselwa namalungelo uthi ubrigadier bengifunda ngithi ngifuna ukubonisa kona lokho ukuthi uma usewuyehla ngalokho ngikubhalile kula ukuthi nakhona kula uye kuyachazwa ke ukuthi ummangalelwa uye watshelwa ke amalungelo wakhe ngaphambi kokuthi ayenze lo yakhomba njengoba ebuza.
Okay, but Brigadier, whether it's overlapping from the 30th to the 31st, I'm just being specific to the time when the interview was done regarding the pointing out, wherein he indicated that he wanted to do the pointing out.
But my lord, that's not how confessions are done. I think that's the point I'm trying to get you to cancel. When you interview a person and you establish, for example, you want to establish, I was not taking a formal confession. Kennedy Mboto is the one who would have documented what he did. I interviewed him to establish whether he is not under threat, he wants to speak to me freely and voluntarily and without any undue influence. When I was satisfied with that, is to refer him. There is no prescribed rule that says, I've never seen it, that when you interview a person, before you refer him to an independent officer, you must document everything. Then I'm taking the confession, my lord. Then I might as well set with a form, recorded each and every answer, and that document would have amounted to me taking the confession, because that was the essence. But for the best practice rule, you refer to someone so that that evidence at least has some credibility, because I was seized with this matter. My taking of the confession could have been viewed differently, no matter how objective it was. That's how it's done, my lord. I've never seen a situation where, because that's what I'm getting from counsel, that I was supposed to sit with a form or a piece of paper and say, I'm giving him this right and I'm documenting it here. I'm giving him this right, then I'm taking the confession. Precisely what I was trying to avoid by appointing or requesting an independent officer.
Ubrigadier uchaza ke indlela ekuthi usebenze ngayo. Uthi ke yena wayekade ebuza imibuzo ukubona ukuthi umsolo uzimisele ukukhuluma futhi akaphoqwanga futhi akashawanga noma akunanto ekuthi imenze ukuthi agcine sekazimisela ukukhuluma. Yena wayekade engabhali phansi ngoba ubekade engathathi leso statement, ingakho egcine sekuthi ufuna umuntu wesithathu ukuthi kube uyena ozothatha leso statement. Yena bekade ehlola nje ukuthi umsolwa akusukuthi uphoqiwe noma ushayiwe ukuze azoyenza lesi statement.
Very good, Brigadier. Thank you for that explanation. So it was not recorded because it's not the best practice rule that it must be done like that. Thank you.
No, Kante, please. I'm saying, when I say recording, I'm saying I did not take the formal confession statement.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
what you're asking me to say, I should have said, do you understand your right to remain silent? And I document it. In my view and my understanding, then it means I would have had to start completing a confession statement. And precisely for the best practice rule, I did not want to do that because I was seized with this matter. I wanted someone independent, provided, of course, the accused was willing to do that clearly voluntarily. And that's the impression I got, and hence I referred him to Kenneth Mboto.
Thank you. I heard you loud and clear.
Manje ke ubrigadier uthi yena akazange abhale phansi njengoba bekabuza imibuzo ngoba bekuzogcina kuba ingathi yena manje uyena othatha lesi statement esifuna kwenziwa umsolwa yena ingakho agcine seyikuthi ube kade emnikela komunye umuntu wesiphathu.
Brigadier, if I follow your examination in chief in this transcript and from the pages that I've referred you, this interview between yourself and accused number one, where he indicated that he wanted to make a pointing out.
No.
He was taken back from Colonel Mboto back to your office.
Correct.
Yes, am I correct?
Yeah, but you're not correct to say the interview. As I said, the interview started earlier. When he was brought back, it was simply to establish if he was fine because he was coming from Kenneth Mboto, and the answer was yes. And to establish, after warning him, if he was still wanting to assist with, or rather do the pointing out of the witch doctor. When the answer was affirmative, then that's when I referred him that Sergeant Mohula will talk to him tomorrow, but if he should change his mind or want to consult, then he can inform her. So what happened when he came back from Kenneth Mboto was a follow-up of what was discussed earlier before he went to Kenneth Mboto.
Manje ke ukuyicacisa kahle umsolwa bengikade ngikhulume naye ngaphambi kokuthi ayisiwe kuKenneth Mboto. Uma ebuya ngingambuza nakhona futhi ukuthi ubekade esafuna na ukuqhubeka, ubekade esazimisele wathi yebo, ingakho ke ngingamtshela ukuthi uzoyisiwa ke ku Sergeant Mkhona ukuze aqhubeke. Nakhona ngamcebisa ukuthi uma ingabe kusasa kwakhona uma ungasafuni ukuqhubeka ungasho bese ngizothola leyo mpendulo leyo.
Okay, let me try not to confuse you, Brigadier. I'll take you a little bit back to the same page, line number 2, so that maybe you can recall. Number 2, you testified in your examination in chief on the same page that so then after a few minutes, suppose maybe 10 to 15 minutes, they then arrived back. This is now Constable Munareng with this member as well as with accused number 1, my lord. So it means the accused is taken back to you.
That's what I said, my lord.
Yes.
That's what I said earlier.
Ngisho njalo ukuthi umsolwa uye walethwa ebuyiswa kimi, ebuyiswa uMunareng nomunye lo bekasebenza naye.
So what you are referring to in pages 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 transpired when the suspect was brought back to you after the statement had been taken from Colonel Mboto.
My lord, as I'm saying, the conversation of the witch doctor started earlier. The discussions when he was brought back, I think after midnight, was very short. It was, as I said, and I'm repeating it again, my lord, it was to establish if he was fine, which that the answer was affirmative, and whether he would still be willing to carry on with the pointing out of the witch doctor the following day. It was not the start of the conversation. It was already discussed earlier before he went to Kenneth Mboto.
Ingxoxo yenyanga ayiqalanga uma sekabuya kuKenneth Mboto bese sesikhulumile ngayo ngaphambi kokuthi aye kuKenneth Mboto yokuthi uthi ufuna ukuyokhomba lenyanga leyana. Uma ebuya bengisafuna ukwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi usazimisele na ukuthi ayokhomba leyanyanga lebekakhuluma ngayo ngaphambi kokuthi aye kuKenneth Mboto.
Okay, let's move further to page 13 of the same transcript, line number 21 to 24.
Page Page 13.
Page
ends
13,
at-
yes,
yeah,
page 13.
Yeah, but my page 13 ends at paragraph 20. My page 13 ends at 20.
Yeah, that's line 20, which says was like, you know. That's line 20. Line number 21, line 22, 23, 24, 25. The last line is the one which says, Mr. Baloyi, what time did you part ways with him?
Okay, but Council, what I'm saying is in the transcript that I have, I only have paragraph 20. I don't have 21. Is that what you want me to read? I don't have paragraph 21 yet.
It's line. It's the line.
Line 20.
20.
Okay.
It's
So
the
should
line
I read
20.
from line 20 downwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry
was-
about this.
Okay, no, it's fine, Council. So was
I
line,
meant paragraph 20, line number 20.
I understand. It's
Yes.
continue, Council. Was like, you know, when you want or when something has been taken off your
Okay,
shoulder.
sorry, can you start, sorry to disturb, can you start a bit to line number 19 where it says he was looking better than when he was like, just to complete the sentence. Line 19, just above 20.
He was looking better than when he was like, you know, when you want or when something has been taken off your shoulders. But other than that, my Lord, there was no sign of fear, concern, or threats that I detected when I observed him. And I also did not see any visible injuries when I was talking to him, my Lord.
Okay. Thank you.
ubekade ebukeka engcono kufane nokuthi uke wabona umuntu uma kunomthwalo osukile emahlombe kuye kodwa bekungenampawu noma izimpawu zokuthi ubekade ethukile noma enganelisekanga.
And you also checked him if he had any visible injuries, am I correct?
Well, not physically by observing. Yes, I did observe, but I did not. If the question is to say I checked him, like I physically examined him, no, but I didn't see any visible injuries.
Uye wamhlola na nokuthi ubekade elimele uthi ukumhlola mina ukumthinta angizange kodwa ngokumbona ngingambona ukuthi akukho la ukuthi ulimele khona.
Okay. According to your knowledge, Brigadier, as the lead investigator, was the accused taken to the district surgeon before and after the statement to Colonel Mboto was taken?
No, he wasn't.
Umsolwa uye wayisiwa na kudokotela noma inyanga eyomhlola ngaphambi kokuthi aye kuKenneth Mboto nangemva kokuthi abuye kuKenneth Mboto uthi cha akazange ayisiwe.
Do you see that if the accused was taken to a district surgeon, the doctor would have been a neutral person to examine accused number one and to confirm if there were any complaint of assault made by accused number one? The doctor, meaning that by neutrality, I mean he was not part of the police if he was taken to the doctor. The doctor would have recorded the J88, record if there were any injuries, visible or old, and also any complaint that was made.
Yes, my Lord. So I think one needs to look at the requirements of making a confession, and that it must be made freely, voluntarily, without any undue influence. Nowhere does it say a person must be taken to a district surgeon as a requirement. Now, I know other police officers, perhaps they want to do that practice. It varies from person to person. Others will even want to take photos during the admission. But insofar as the requirement, you need to satisfy yourself that the person before you is willing to make this confession freely, voluntarily, without any undue influence, and he understands his constitutional rights. I was satisfied with that, my Lord, when I referred him to Colonel Mboto. I do not think there's a provision that...
Uthini umthetho ngoba mina ngolwami ulwazi awukho umthetho othi umuntu ngaphambi kokuthi ayoyenza leso statement kwamele ayisiwe kudokotela ayomhlola bese nangemva kokuthi asenze istatement bese uyabuyiselwa kudokotela ukuthi iyomhlola. Abanye bayenzi lokho kodwa mina ngokwami ngiye ngambheka ngambona ukuthi umsolwa yena wayekade engenazo impawu zokulimala naye ngambuza wathi akalimalanga akashawanga kodwa abanye bayakwenza lokho akusukuthi kwamele kwenziwe ukuya ngomthetho.
And my lord, I believe the officers who were involved, beside the magistrate who were involved in the taking of these confessions are senior officers, my lord. If they detected assault or anything, I really doubt and do not believe that they would have proceeded with the taking down of these confessions, because that would have been the case with me. If I picked up that he was assaulted or he gave me any indication that he was threatened, there is no way I would have said, go and see the doctor and then go and do the confession, because that would not have been made free and voluntary. That would have been the end of it, except the reporting of the case and obvious steps being taken against the perpetrators.
Futhi ke ngiyathemba ukuthi nalamaphoyisa lawa athathe lezi statement zabasolwa abantu ekuthi bona bangocwepheshe esiphoyiseni futhi bakhulu nasemsebenzini wabo akusibona abantu abekade bengathi uma umsolwa bembona ukuthi ushayiwe noma uthuselwe bangaqhubeka bathathe lezo statement. Ngiyathemba ukuthi nami njengoba ngiyengambona ukuthi lo muntu akashawanga akathuselwanga ngiyengathi kuqhutshekwe ingakho nabo ngiyacabanga ukuthi nabo baqhubeke ngenxa yokuthi uma bembona babone ukuthi akathuselwanga futhi akashawanga ingakho baye baqhubeka.
Okay, so in other words, there was no need of taking the accused to the district surgeon because the statement was made to a senior officer.
No, but that's not what I said, my lord.
Oh.
I think the last part counsel is referring to is the last part of my testimony. I started with the requirements of making a confession, and I articulated what is it that I understand to be the requirement, and that is a statement must be made freely, voluntarily, without any undue influence. I'm repeating it, I don't know how many times with due respect, my lord. And I said, accused must also be aware of his constitutional rights. Accused 1 and 2, when I interviewed them, they were aware of these rights, and the impression I got, they were willing to make the statements freely and voluntarily, my lord. And I said, which is also a repetition, there is no rule that says a medical doctor, accused must be taken to a medical doctor for examination before the requirements of taking a confession are met. I'm not aware of that, my lord.
Ungizwe kahle mmeli mina angithi umsolwa akayiswanga kwinyanga yesilungu phecelezi i-medical doctor ngoba wayekade ekhuluma kwiphoyisa eliphakeme ngomsebenzi wakhe. Mina ngithi akayiswanga ngoba angibonanga impawu okokuqala uma ngikhuluma naye nanoma ebuya angizibonanga impawu zokuthi ulimele noma uthuselwe.
Okay, thank you Brigadier for that response. Let's move further to page 24 of the same transcript. Page 24.
Yes, my lord, I'm there.
Yes, it starts from line number 21, but I want to refer you to line number 25. Maybe you can just read the whole paragraph which says, Mr. Kininda, then my lord, on the 4th.
On the 4th of June 2020, I approached the accused, approached the accused 1 in Valeria, warned him according to his constitutional rights and established if he was still willing to do the formal pointing out of the crime scene. The answer was yes, and he also indicated that he did not need an attorney as well, my lord.
Yes.
Mina ke ngalelo langa ngiye ngakhuluma nomsolwa ngambuza ukuthi usazimisele na ukuyokhomba indawo la kwenzakele isehlakalo yena wathi yebo futhi akafuni ummeli.
Recorded where, my lord, because I've said it's documented in my statement. There's a summary of the events on the 4th, because on the 4th, the diary which I made available to defense has a summary. I did indicate this is a diary, but in statements and various statements that we disclosed to the defense, my lord, it's indicated. It's indicated there. It's only this form, the warning statement, that was not used.
Nako lokho futhi akubhalwanga phansi ukuthi umsolwa uthe yena akafuni ummeli uthi bengingabhala phansi kuphi ngoba njengoba sengichazile ukuthi kwi-diary ngibhale ngamafuphi ukuthi benginomsolwa sakhuluma futhi kwi-statement zami ke kula ukuthi kuye kwabhalwa ngokugcwala ukuthi ngikhulume naye sakhuluma ngani kulesiya statement esibizwa i-warning statement kula ukuthi angizange ngisebenzise.
Thank you. Let's go down further on the same page, page 25, line number 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It goes up to the following page 26, line number 1, 2, and 3.
My Lord, so it reads as follows, my Lord. It says, my Lord, after getting the confirmation that he still wants to proceed freely and voluntarily, I then made a few calls until I got to Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe, who was prepared to assist with the pointing out. My Lord, Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe said he can assist the following day, which is the 5th of June 2020, and he requested that accused one should be detained at Alberton SAPS, where he will then make arrangements to book him out and carry on with the formal pointing out. Sorry, should I carry on? The last
No,
paragraph? Oh.
it's fine with that line.
Ngemva kokuthi
Thank you.
sengikhulume naye umsolwa ke ngemva kokuthi sekashilo ukuthi yebo uyafuna ukuqhubeka ngengashaya ucingo ngifunana nabantu ngagcina sengithole uLieutenant Colonel Hadebe oye wathi yena uzimisela ukuthi angasiza kodwa uzosiza ngelanga elilandelelayo yena waqhubeka wacela ukuthi umsolwa wokuqala abekwe esiphoyiseni sase Alberton kula ukuthi yena uzoza azomlanda khona la.
Brigadier, at what time did you make this call? If you can recall, if you can't recall, just
I think it would have been during the day, my Lord. I can't really be precise with the time, but I know that it would have been during the day.
Loliya cingo ulishaye ngobani isikhathi uthi nangokho ngeke ngikhumbule isikhathi kodwa ngiyacabanga ukuthi bekade kusemini.
were there any persons that you were with when you were making this call to Colonel Hadebe?
No, I don't recall, my Lord. What I know is that I spoke to him because I even documented the cell number he was using that time in 2020 where I reached him.
Bekunabantu na abewukade unabo ngalesikhathi ushaya lolo cingo uthi angikhumbuli lokho kodwa ngibhalile inombolo yakhe yocingo le bekade eyisebenzisa ngalo nyaka ka2020.
And we have no records of the conversation between yourself and Colonel Hadebe when you were requesting him to make the pointing out.
What type of recordings, my Lord? Perhaps Council can clarify. It's recorded. I have it in my diary, and it's recorded in statements to say there was such a discussion. I'm not sure what more Council is asking me, my Lord.
I think you were using telephone. Am I correct?
Yes, I was, my Lord.
Uthi ke sine record la ukuthi wena wawukade ukhuluma nabo labo bantu uyabuza ubrigadier ukuthi mhlawumbe mawungangicacisela ukhuluma ngayiphi irecord uthi ummeli ngokade usebenzisa ucingwa ngisho uthi yena.
Yes, then I'm referring to that conversation, Brigadier. I think you'll understand better because you are the investigating officer. I'm referring to that conversation that was made between one handset to another handset, that we do not have the content of the conversation, what was said by you to Colonel Hadebe.
No, we don't have it in the docket, my Lord, but I'm not aware of the requirements that such conversations must be, because you must talk about those things, you apply. I'm not aware that that was supposed to be now requested. And in any event, my Lord, what we're going to have is actually the linkages that shows that there was a call from my phone to Lieutenant Hadebe. The actual recording, it's another dilemma. It's actually interception, monitoring. So I'm not sure how was I going to get the exact weight unless both our phones are intercepted. But there are regulations to do that. So it's not something you can just take and put on the docket. You apply, they are regulated. And they are people's rights. I mean, I didn't ask Colonel Hadebe to violate his rights in this instance. I was only asking him to assist if he can with the pointing out, not to infringe his rights to privacy. And I was not aware that I was supposed now to go to his records and draw that communication and intercept his phone, my lord. I'm not aware of that, really, with greatest respect.
Uthumeli ke asinalo ke lolo leyo nkulumo enibe nayo wena no Colonel Hadebe ngoba ayikho la ukuthi siye sayizwa khona noma satshelwa ngayo uthi ubrigadier mina lokho engwaziyo ukuthi uma ingabe udinga irecord enjalo kwamele ufake isicelo ukuthi uzodinga irecord enjalo kodwa angizange ngibe naso leso sicelo futhi bengingazi ukuthi kuzodingeka ukuthi kube naleyo record yenkulumo yami naye ngoba mina ngazi ukuthi amalungelo wakhe wokuthi umuntu unelungelo lokuthi makakhulume nomunye umuntu bese kugcina khona lapho bengingazanga ukuthi bekwameleke ngidonse irecord leyo ngiyophenya ukuthi sithole irecord yaleyo nkulumo.
My lord, can I ask for the short break? The heat is unbearable where I'm standing, my lord. Just a short break, just to breathe out and eat.
What time is it?
6 minutes past 12.
Okay, let's come back at 12:30.
Thank you, my lord.